You have the question of the president's age. I mean, it's just there in poll after poll, not just ours. Our poll, in fact, said 28%, just 28% think that President Biden has the mental sharpness to effectively serve for another term.
Joe Biden's job approval rating has dropped to the lowest for any president in the past 15 years. That's according to a new ABC News Ipsos poll. It found that Joe Biden's approval rating is sitting at just 33%, which is worse than Donald Trump's low as president, which was 36%. The poll also found that 58% disapprove of Joe Biden's work, but the president received a much lower score when assessed on his mental fitness. According to the poll, only 28% believe that President Biden has the mental sharpness to serve effectively for another term, and only 28% say he has the physical health necessary to serve again. Looking at how the former president performed in the poll, 47% believe that Donald Trump has the mental sharpness to serve effectively, and 57% say he has the physical health that's required. The poll also found that Donald Trump is well ahead of his Republican opponents.
I think President Trump's continued to have a very large lead. We've seen that throughout the entire process. I do think it comes down to organization and whose voters are going to be the most energized, who's going to show up. Remember, you have to have caucus captains. There's 1,600 locations across the state. If you don't have an organization and a ground game, I actually think Trump's ground game's better than it was when he ran in 2016. And DeSantis has a good ground game. Nikki has a good ground game. But organization's going to be key tomorrow.
The poll has been released just days after First Lady Jill Biden defended Joe Biden's age, insisting that it's an asset.
I see his vigor, I see his energy, I see his passion every single day.
So to those who say I can't vote for Joe Biden, he's too old, what do you say?
I say his age is an asset.
Meanwhile, Republican candidates vying to become the party's presidential nominee are campaigning in Iowa. The state will be the first to vote for the nominee, and Donald Trump is still leading the pack for a third run for the White House.
Iowa is the first in the nation to cast a ballot for the Republican presidency, and so that's why we're all here despite these absolutely frigid temperatures. Right now, where we are in Walcott, Iowa, it's around negative 26 degrees Celsius, and that's not including the wind chill factor. It's about the same predicted for tomorrow. We're getting a low of negative 28 degrees Celsius, and this has become a real factor in the Iowa caucuses. Now, these are known to be cold at the best of times, but this is set to be the coldest one since this became a fixture on the political calendar in 1972. So what happens is across the state tomorrow, there's going to be small meetings, about 1,600 according to the Iowa GOP, where candidates are voted for by members of the Republican Party. You can sign up tomorrow, but they go into these small meetings in places like schools, in town halls, in auditoriums, sometimes even farms, and that's where they'll decide for the first time for this election who should be the Republican Party nominee. The concern is with this weather, people aren't going to turn out. And the concern is the mostly held by the Trump campaign, because they've got the biggest challenge in that they are leading by so much in the polls. Perhaps their voters would say, why go out in this weather? Why risk an icy run into the local school hall and the risk of running myself off the road if I know my guy's going to win? So Donald Trump has been out in Iowa saying, hey, you guys still need to come vote for me. This is make or break.
So brave the weather and go out and save America, because that's what you're doing. This is really about saving our country. Remember, your caucus location is often different from where you normally vote. So you can find all of the information you need at ia.donaldjtrump, whoever that may be, .com.
The other candidates that have shaken to the top have been former South Carolina Governor, Nikki Haley, and current Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Now, the latest polling has Nikki Haley pulling ahead, especially when you start looking at the polling comparing the potential Republican candidates to Joe Biden, who is running for the Democrats. But they are all fighting for every single vote. It all comes down to how many hands you've shaken in Iowa, how many people you've looked in the eye and talked to about the issues, and they're not taking a single vote for granted in this absolutely critical race.
I'm not worried. Look, I'm not a political pollster. I'm not going to worry about the numbers. What I am going to say is the momentum and the energy on the ground is strong. We feel it. We know that this is moving in the right direction. And to me, the only numbers that matter are the ones that we're going up and everybody else went down.
We've got a huge number of people that have committed to caucus, and we expect that these are the people that turn out. So there's a lot of excitement on the ground. We're in this for the long haul. We understand that you got to win a majority of the delegates. We understand that there's a long process here, but we're going to do well because we've done it right, and our folks are going to turn out.
One caucus leader we found at a gun show in nearby Davenport today was telling us he still hasn't made up his mind of who he's going to vote for. What did you think of Nikki Haley when you met her?
Very well-spoken. Her policies are good. I hope she can win the support of, if she ends up being the candidate. I mean, I think she's making a good presence across the United States from what I hear.
Who are you going to caucus for?
It's a tough question right now. I mean, I'm a Trump guy through and through, not for his actions, but how he handles policy in foreign countries and the economy. He needs to put his Twitter down, but other than that, I mean, otherwise I'm probably a Nikki Haley.